Good morning students, I am Nidhishreyas Pagalwadi, your science teacher, Sankalp Learning Solutions. In the last class, we learned regarding the chemistry concept, that is acids, bases and salts, right? Today we are going to learn about the new concept of chemistry, that is metals and non-metals. We know that all the elements in the periodic table are divided as metals and non-metals. How they are divided as metals and non-metals? Why a substance or an element is called as metal? Why the element is called as non-metal? So on what basis they made them as metals and non-metals, that we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay. So first, as we learned regarding metals and non-metals in 8th standard, okay. So first we have to concentrate on the physical properties of it. Okay. So let us discuss the physical properties, then we move to the chemical properties of the metals. Why we have to study these properties? The studying of properties makes sure that why these substances are regarded as metals, why the other substances are regarded as non-metals. That is why learning the properties of the metals and non-metals is very necessary and essential. So let us begin. So let us consider the metals like silver, copper, iron. So you can consider any metal. So when you see such metals, you can see the shining appearance. Usually the metals will be having the shining appearance. So that property of a metal is called as metallic luster. It is called as metallic luster. So first we will discuss regarding physical properties of metal. What do you mean by physical properties? The outlook, we can say. The outlook, what is the shape, what is the size, and what is the color. Using the shape, whether we can change the shape or no. Studying about that all will come under physical properties. So today we are going to study regarding physical properties of metals. Okay, so first one, as I said, almost all the metals have a shiny surface. So that is called as metallic luster. So the first one is metallic luster. Shiny surface, we can go. Okay, the next one is very common thing. So when you consider any metal, copper, iron, magnesium, any metal, aluminium, so you can see that we can't break these metals very easily. As you tear the cloth, as you break what we can say, so any other non-metal like carbon, we can say that coal, we can break it easily. So the metals cannot be broken down easily. So that indicates that metal is hard. So the second property is hardness. Next thing. Fine. So we know that all the women or all the girls, we can say, we all love to wear the gold jewelers, gold made jewelers, right? So why gold is only used, mostly it is used to for making the jewelers, because it can be bent very easily. It can be made into thin sheets. Okay, when you hammer any metal, take a block of iron, take a block of copper. So hammer it several times. When you hammer it, the metals will convert into sheet. They will convert into sheet. That property of a metal is called as malleability. So gold and silver, why these two are used most to prepare the ornaments, to prepare many, what we can say, the puja materials and all, because these can be molded, that is what we can say, malleable. These are very malleable. Means this can be converted into very thin sheets however we want. That is why this property of metal is called malleability, which that is why our ornaments, our jewelries and other materials will be made up of silver and gold, right? So the next property is malleability. So what do you mean by malleability? Metals can be drawn into sheets. metals can be drawn into sheets. Fine. Next thing, as you can observe in your whole house, so every electrical appliance is connected by a wire. So do you know, whenever they will be connecting the wire, if you observe the electrician, when they will be removing the wire, the usually inside the wire you will be having the copper. That is copper wire. Wire will be made up of copper usually, right? So there what happens, the it shows the property of a metal where the metals can be drawn into thin wires also. How much ever thin you want. It is said that only 1 gram gold, only 1 gram, I'm not saying 1 kilogram, 1 gram gold can be converted into a wire which extends to 2 kilometers. See, 1 gram gold. From 1 gram gold, you can make up to 2 kilometers of wire, not 2 centimeter or 2 kilometer, 2000 meters of wire you can draw using the gold. That is how much gold? 1 gram gold. So this property tells us that metals are ductile. What do you mean by ductile? Metals can be drawn into wires. Okay, metals can be drawn into wires. So here metals can be drawn into wires. If they are drawn into sheets, that property is called malleability. So metals can be drawn into wires. Fine. Next one. As for this, we have to perform, I will just explain you an activity. So we have to take a stand which has a clamp in it. Okay, then we will have to take a stand like this, and to this stand using the clamp means clip like structure. Okay, so we have to place an aluminium rod. Aluminium is a metal, right? You can place any rod. Okay, so using the clips, these will be the clips, and this is a aluminium rod, Al rod. You can use any metal rod like iron rod or like copper, anything. So aluminium rod I consider, and at this end, using the wax, I am fixing one nail. I am fixing one nail using the wax. I am fixing one nail at this end. Okay, by I used wax to fix it. So what is happening? Now I am heating using the Bunsen burner. I am heating the other end or the part of aluminium which is quite away from this nail. Okay, the aluminium rod I am heating. So after some time you can observe that this nail will fall off. This nail will fall off. What it indicates? Whatever heat you supplied here or influenced or affected the nail here. This tells us that the heat is passed through the aluminium rod. Thus, here also it got heated and the nail fall off or the nail fell. Right? This indicates, or this activity proves us that metals are good conductors of heat. That is why we will use metals for cooking vessels. For producing or for manufacturing cooking vessels, metals are used. Why? Because they are good conductors of heat. Okay. So the next one is good conductors of heat. Fine. Now, let me explain you one more activity. So here we are going to consider an electric circuit which has a battery. Fine. Okay. One end of a battery is connected to somewhat we took a bulb. Okay, just a minute. Okay, we took a small bulb. Fine. And this end is connected. It is free end and this is connected to free end. Let us name these free ends and A and B. Here we are keeping a metal whichever we want. So let us keep a metal like iron, or let us keep copper, aluminium, any metal, magnesium. Okay. So when you keep any metal in between in the circuit, okay, what happens? The bulb will get switch on. The bulb will get switch on. When you keep any metal in between these, the bulb will get switch on. The bulb illuminates. The bulb glows. Okay, what it indicates or what it shows, metals can pass electricity. Means it tells us that metals are good conductors of electricity. Metals are good conductors of electricity. So the next point here is uh, and have high melting point. So when you in the previous activity, when you heated the aluminium rod did not melt. It shows us that it will be having, the metals will be having high melting point. That is why they are the good conductors of heat, we can say. Okay, now, so the best example of good conductors of heat are silver and copper. They have very high, silver and gold, I guess. Silver and copper. Silver and copper. So these have very high melting point. That is why these are used as good conductors of heat. Then in the metals only we have exception. Okay, in the metals only we have exception like lead and mercury. Lead and mercury, which are poor conductors. I repeat, not the bad conductors, which are poor conductors of electricity. Sorry, poor conductors of heat. Okay, now let us write battery. Fine. Sixth one. So sixth point is good conductors of electricity. That is why all the wires, all the wiring will be done by a metals like copper and all. So even though the silver and gold are a very good conductors of electricity, but these metals are costly. Economically we should think, copper is very reliable or very cheap. That is why copper is used for the wirings. Good conductors of electricity. So you can observe that the wires in your houses or any charge cables are covered by a rubber-like material or are covered by a PVC, that is polyvinyl chloride. Why they are covered by a PVC or a rubber-like material? Because if the metal wire is directly connected, okay, directly without covering it, directly the electricity has to be conducted. If anyone touches it by mistake or if anything happens, so what happens? It will lead to a shock. That is why, to prevent that, the wires or the metallic wires will be covered with the rubber like material or the PVC, polyvinyl chloride, which are the insulators. Means they will not conduct the electricity. The metallic wire which is inside, it will conduct the electricity. Fine. So the next point, good conductors of electricity. The next point is, fine. So you might observe in the temples or you might observe in your schools, like when the school bell rings, you just observe that bell. Or you can take an example of the bell in your bicycle also. So usually it is made up of iron. Why iron? Because metals have a ability to produce the sound. Metals have a ability to produce the sound. That property of metal is called as sonorous. Sonorous means ability to produce the sound. Okay. So this is regarding the physical properties of the metals. When we come to the physical properties of the non-metals, so usually non-metals will be solid at room temperature. Non-metals will be solid at room temperature except solid or gas, except bromine, which is liquid. And in case of metal, almost all the metals will be solid at room temperature except mercury, which is liquid. Okay, so let us discuss regarding physical properties of non-metals in the next session. Until that, take care, have a nice day, bye bye.